All right, it's Friday, March 14th. This is an end of the day and end of the week SPY recap. And today on the daily chart, we end up with a green day, essentially holding above the midpoint of the prior day, moving up on a two-up day and kind of reaching its initial targets here. This is the third week in a row now. We go down for most of the week and then go up on a Friday, go down for the, week and then come up on Friday, go down for the week, come up on Friday. And that's, when you track this day to day, some of these little tendencies do pop up. I don't think it's anything that's a long-term, occurrence, but, you kind of saw that was developing during this big downtrend that's been in play for a while. So, something to monitor for. And then once today, if we look at the intraday structure, things gapped up a little bit from yesterday. Here's yesterday's close. And then we essentially moved above the pre-market highs on the first bar. The bias certainly was to the upside a little bit. Now, just real quickly, and this would have been fine to buy this breakout on bar number 2 here, and I usually put a stop at the midpoint of the first bar. I think you would have had to take a small loss there. I discussed how I bought some Netflix and CrowdStrike pretty aggressively, and they were going up, and then once some news hit at 9 o'clock, I had to take very small gain. I had enough follow through to set up no risk trades, and then I took very small base hit gains. And then, in terms of the SPY, after it just came down for just a brief bar, just to take out the low of the day, again, kind of like yesterday where we kind of started out and we started lower, and then we came up and took out the high of the day and then immediately went lower. Today we take out the low of the day and immediately start higher in line with the positive bias that was developing. So to me, I think it would have been a good buy here on this inside bar and this green bar to kind of test those highs and see if we, at that point, I think we established a 2-up day here. In other words, on this little move up, we took out the high of the previous day. So that kind of established the uptrend in terms of a 2-up day that had targets up there. So that's why once you saw this inside bar, you could have bought it here. I discussed how I actually bought some calls over here and was anticipating hitting our target up at the blue line, and it eventually got there. So, I think the perfect buy would have been here, and I jumped in here just anticipating we were heading higher with all the bias to the upside. So not a major trade, but something where you expected follow through, and it did reach its target. But more importantly is, what does this all mean now going forward? We're at the middle of the month. This is the weekly chart now. This is the second hammer, a little buying tail we are developing in a row. So that to me seems to show a trading range is kind of unfolding down here. And if I go to the monthly chart, it's not surprising that, this would be the bounce area. When we go back on the chart on the 2 down, we've hit these 2 targets. We were coming into these buying tails on the monthly chart. So somewhere in here, there was strong reactive buying. And then, once we kind of hit this level, green line here, it looks like we're getting a little bit of a, bounce here. And I discussed yesterday how this monthly bar looked very red. Now, if you look at it, it doesn't look as terrible. And we still have half a month to go. This thing could really, just end up being a 1-month pullback type of thing. So we're going to find out if we get a 2-up week next week. If so, it's going to have a hard time going all the way up to that target and broadening out in 1 week up there. I mean, anything's possible, but in this environment, I don't expect that. I can almost envision if we go up, maybe getting a 2-up week, and then whether it's 1 week or a couple of weeks, kind of grinding into this bar, and that could mean we're not kind of reaching our target. And then the next 2 down week will be interesting to see if we can test those lows again. But in the meantime, it's almost like you can sense a trading range is unfolding. But it all depends how things open, next week. Like when we had the green bar last week, we immediately gapped down on Monday. So if we gap down again, then it's the same kind of scenario. But it almost looks like this time, because it's a little smaller bar, and we've tried to test lower, we might want to, continue up a little bit. But I can still see under this environment some failures in here and some rollovers that try to test lower, and we'll just see how things go. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating. When you see this green bar, you kind of expect it to follow through higher. If we do follow through higher on Monday, let's say, then, if it reaches its target up here, that triggers the 2-up week, and that gives, that sets some targets all the way up here to the 580 area. So there's still a lot of room to run. And, within a downtrend, you can certainly get a little bounce up to these, if you can envision a 45-degree line somewhere in here, it wouldn't be unexpected at all. So we're just going to go day by day, but this week, a lot of good downside activity, and today was actually a good trade to the upside, even though it was a little choppy and didn't give you all that much. There were some other stocks that did well. I discussed how I bought all, when this move was happening to the upside, instead of trading the SPY, this first move, the inside bar break, I kind of went to Palantir at the time, and I anticipated that would move up. So that broke out, had a pause, and 2 pushes up on the day. So there were a lot of stocks like that to buy today, and it was just a little relief rally at the end of the week, and we're just going to have to see what happens next week. I'm biased, just to head a little higher into this area, but I think some failures up will still present some more selling opportunities as the month goes on. But again, I really want to see how this monthly chart begins to close. As the next couple of weeks unfold, we'll get more of a feeling. We're going to stay strongly red and anticipate a little test lower to some of these areas, or is it going to really just eat away to the upside and have a big buying tail in here, which could mean we just had a very sharp consolidation area. So we'll see as this month goes on what happens. It doesn't look like it wants to have the strong rally, just given the fact that there's a lot to eat into over here. But if we come up, let's just see, next week and then the week after that, what really unfolds in this area.